Sean Diddy Combs just got hit with a crushing blow in court, and this time there's no flashy party or smooth press release to spin it away. After months of headlines, speculation, and legal battles, a judge has officially denied his last attempt to overturn his conviction. That decision clears the runway for a sentencing that could finally clip the wings of a man who once branded himself as untouchable. But the real question isn't just how long Diddy might serve, it's what comes next. And whether this saga is the end of an empire or just another chapter in a career that's been fueled by controversy as much as music. When the jury reached its verdict, the headlines lit up immediately. Diddy was convicted on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prostitution. A serious charge, though not quite the headline-grabbing trafficking accusations that many expected. He was acquitted of that bigger charge, which, depending on who you ask, was either a sign that the evidence wasn't strong enough or that he simply dodged a legal bullet. Diddy has always been good at dodging, but here's the problem for him. Even without the trafficking conviction, the charges that did stick are still enough to wreck the image he's spent decades polishing. It's not easy to sell yourself as a mogul of the century when the court record tells a different story. Once that guilty verdict landed, his only hope was to try one more legal trick, and he played it. In his final move, Diddy's lawyers threw what they proudly called a last-ditch effort to erase the conviction. They argued the trial was flawed, that the jury let emotion guide them, and that the evidence just didn't hold up. Nice try, but the judge wasn't buying it. With one ruling, the whole appeal collapsed, and suddenly the man who spent his career preaching about power and control is finding himself with none. Sentencing day is now officially on the horizon, and no remix is going to change that track. And this is where it gets even more uncomfortable, because the people who lived through it aren't staying quiet. Diddy's former assistant sent a letter straight to the judge, making it crystal clear that wealth and fame should not act like a get-out-of-jail-free card. She wrote that the punishment should reflect the actual harm caused, not the size of his bank account. It's the kind of statement that slices straight through the myth of invincibility he's wrapped himself in for decades. Then there's Cassie Ventura, his ex-girlfriend, whose words went beyond disappointment and straight into fear. She told the judge that if Diddy walks free, his first action will be retaliation, not reconciliation, not reflection, but revenge. That's not exactly the glowing character reference his defense team was probably hoping for. Even now, with prison time hanging over him, the people closest to him still believe he's capable of striking back. If perception is reality, that reality isn't looking too good. Prosecutors, of course, wasted no time making their demands. They're asking for 11 years behind bars, more than double the typical sentence for similar crimes. And their reasoning is blunt. Diddy didn't just break the law, he used power, fraud, and coercion to bend people to his will. In other words, they see him not as just another offender, but as someone who went out of his way to make it worse. For them, this case is about more than one man. It's about showing that fame and influence can't buy immunity. They want to prove that the courtroom doesn't care about your record sales, your brand deals, or your reputation as the mogul. If he gets away light, it sends a dangerous message, and prosecutors clearly aren't in the mood to send that message. Naturally, Diddy's lawyers fired back, painting him as the victim of an unfair system. They called the idea of an 11-year sentence draconian, as if the prosecutors were trying to rewrite the rules just to make an example out of him. Their suggestion? 13 months is enough. Time served, let him go, case closed. According to them, the man's already lost his reputation, his empire, and the spotlight that once made him untouchable. Haven't we punished him enough? It's a bold pitch, but it's also hard not to notice the irony. For decades, Diddy sold himself as larger than life, a man who couldn't be stopped. Now his team wants everyone to see him as fragile, broken, and deserving of mercy. That's not exactly the persona he built Bad Boy Records on. Still, in the middle of all this chaos, his camp did score one tiny victory. The judge decided Diddy won't have to show up to sentencing in a bright orange jumpsuit. Instead, he gets to wear a button-down shirt and slacks, the uniform of a businessman rather than an inmate. A small detail? Sure. But for someone whose entire career has been about image, that detail matters. It means that even as he faces the possibility of a decade in prison, he can still cling to a little bit of the brand he built. The irony is almost too perfect, fighting for style points while your freedom hangs in the balance. Now everything comes down to sentencing day. Will the judge give him the 11 years prosecutors are demanding, or will his lawyers pull off the miracle and see him walk out with time served? Either way, this is the kind of fall that doesn't just bruise a career, it shatters it. But maybe that's the bigger story here. For years, Diddy was one of those names that seemed above the rules. Whatever the scandal, whatever the rumor, it always rolled off him. He was the mogul, the businessman, the guy who turned controversy into a marketing strategy. Yet now, even he's discovering that the system doesn't bend forever. The walls do eventually close in, and outside the courtroom, the debate rages on. Some fans swear he's being targeted because of who he is, while others see this as overdue justice. Whatever the truth, the outcome of his sentencing will echo far beyond him. It's not just about Diddy. It's about whether power still shields the powerful, or whether even the biggest names eventually have to face the music. One thing is certain, when the judge delivers that sentence, it won't just decide Diddy's fate, it will cement this chapter in hip-hop history. Will it be remembered as the ultimate downfall of one of the genre's most powerful moguls, or just another controversy in a career that always seemed to thrive on drama? Either way, this time, there's no remix to fix what's coming. Thanks for watching! If you love the latest Hollywood drama, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next.